I'm Maurice and welcome to Tanks Invest, where we talk about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's video, intent purposes only. The investment we're going to talk about today would be Ethereum, ticker ETH. First, I just want to say happy Saturday, everybody. We made it through the weekend, so really appreciate you guys for joining me today. And before I head on to my weekend and spend time with my family and friends, I want to just quickly hop on the camera to talk about Ethereum, right? We had a relatively, sizable sell-off yesterday, down about 3.54% yesterday. And throughout the midnight, as we were sleeping on the East Coast, or if you guys were having your day-to-day in the international region, we were rebounding from the $2,200 back to the $2,450 right now. So I'm gonna go through a technical analysis to see where do we see the stock going from here. We're gonna see more of a sell-off right now, or we're gonna see more of a substantive downside going from here. And my price target for year in 2021 as well. So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. Moving on to the technical analysis, and again, happy Saturday and happy weekend, everybody. Alright, so moving on to the technical analysis for Ethereum ticker ETH, we could see that currently we're up about 5.11% right now, and I'm recording as of 8 a.m. on the East Coast in New York City. I just woke up literally, so that's why I'm trying to keep my voice as low as possible. I don't want to wake up my family. They're probably still sleeping right now. And with respect to Ethereum right now, you can see that ever since that dip that we had yesterday, we're down about 4%. So this is kind of correlating with the rebound that we're seeing right now, up about 5%, trading around the $2,416. And you could see that the resistance level that we formed yesterday is becoming more and more substantive and consolidated as we go on, right? You could see that if I draw the line here, in the past when we had more of a substantive level at the $2,150 level, it seems like in terms of the market appetites right now, in terms of the long-term investors pool versus short-term investors pool, is forming more and more appetites around the higher regions right now, right? Not a major higher regions, but about $100 of a high region from the $2,150 level to the $2,250 level, which is the newly formed resistance level right now, right? So with respect to the dip, right? Yesterday we formed this again, and we've tested this how many times now? Once, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, anymore? A bunch of times here. 10, 11, 12, 13. So we are forming a new bottom now. So that's a great sign, right? Firstly, we want to talk about just a couple things, right? Firstly, ever since that dip, we hit the 1731, right? We've been forming more of an escalator uptrend. Okay, you can see the staircase on step 1, step 2, right? Step 3, you can see that's slightly higher, right? So we are forming more of an uptrend right now. In addition to that, we have been consistently bouncing off of the walls or the floors, if you may, the $2,293, right? Which is a newly formed resistance level that we are slowly consolidating more. Okay. So with respect to this rebound right now, we are currently reversing to basically correlate with the dip yesterday. And we are testing the resistance level, the 2,450, right? And let's take a look at the RSI and the MACD right now. You can see that the MACD right now it recently crossed from yesterday, which makes sense because, again, right, with respect to the CPI report effect and also the sector rotation that we had yesterday, a lot of growth stocks, on the equity side were pumping yesterday, right? And with respect to that equation, on the opposite side of the spectrum, some short-term investors, or a minimal part of the long-term investors as well, decide to liquidate part of their holdings on their crypto side to obviously chase the pump on the equity side, right? And which subsequently drove some minimal selling pressure, not just for Ethereum, but for Bitcoin as well. But obviously Bitcoin is a lot bigger and it's less manipulative or volatile, if that's a better way to explain it, in comparison to Ethereum, knowing the fact that this is a lower price point asset as well, right? Which subsequently drive a little bit more of a higher price sensitivity, which correlates to the volatility, right? So right now, I think a good level for us to look out for would be, as we are going through the day, as we, maybe have lunch later today on the East Coast, if you may, we have a potential to hit about like the 2,450, right? Or to be more exact, the 2,445, 92 cents level, right? And we should be going there, consolidate a little bit more, and there's a higher chance that we will actually go further up that way. We might test the 2,563 and consolidate from there, right? But knowing the fact that today is a weekend, right? And tomorrow's a Sunday, so Sundays typically, based on observations historically, right? Saturday is like a sell day, and then Sunday will have like a slight rebound, and then Monday will basically recorrect itself to go back to the normal cadence, and then go through that oscillation again. So I think there's a 50-50 chance that we will break through and go to the $2,570, and then we'll watch that level from there. And I think the likelihood would be like 50-50 at the moment right now, knowing the fact that, again, right, the MACD is slowly crossing up. You can see that the fuse is not that, separated, right, in comparisons. We might have a little bit more way to go, but I think, to correlate with the RSI right now, we are on the more of a reversal right now, knowing the fact that we kind of been submerged in the water from yesterday, right, which makes sense. That for us to go back slowly to the 2,500 or $2,600, and then go upward even more to the $2,781, by sometimes like before mid next week, would be very likely, because that's the historical trends we've been forming, right? We are basically oscillating on a sideways fashion. We are consolidating, right? And also another thing with respect to the macro picture that I want to encapsulate for you guys, that the reason that we're consolidating on a sideways fashion right now is a great sign. It's the reason we're consolidating is because long-term investors have decided to just hold with respect to the asset that they currently have in allocations in their portfolio, right? And they don't have a propensity to sell, or they don't have an incentive to buy or sell at the moment, right? So this volatility, which you can see, is not that big, right? If you look at the swing, it's like basically from the bottom of like 2,250 to north of like 2,000, maybe $800 or $900, right? So it's like a relatively small swing, like maybe 500 or $600, right? It is a lot of money, $600, but if you think about it that way, the volatility is no longer as drastic as what's happening in the past, right? We were having swings like 30%, 40% swings, like down, up or down, right, on like a given days, right? And I think the reason that we're seeing this, like, minimal correction left and right in this oscillation manner is because more and more long-term investors are becoming in part of this equation now, right, in the populations of the Ethereum holders. So the volatility is mainly driven by short-term investors now. So that's a really good sign. That shows a lot of substantiveness with respect to this asset, right? That shows a lot of gravitas in terms of the business fundamental and the value proposition of the adoption and utilization going forward. So I feel extremely confident right now for the long-term value proposition, knowing the fact that a lot of corporate investors are holding and being patient right now. And on top of that, another evidentiary support is that we sold off all the way from the $4,383, right? So the incentive for corporate investors or long-term investors, if you may, like myself, to sell more, like, ask yourself that question, like, are you incentivized to sell right now because we're down, just because we're down? No, you want to make a profit over time, right? And the rules that your patience will pay off if you believe in the long-term value proposition of these assets, right? And I believe in it, and I'm strongly, firmly invested in it. I've invested a lot of my money, and I can be honest with you, I invested about $250,000 of my money, of my personal capital, into Ethereum right now. Obviously, it grew to become $250,000. I didn't buy it at that level, right? Because I bought it at the bottom when it was like $600, and I bought a ton, thanks to my friend that kept hawking me to, like, hey, you should buy it, Maurice, you should buy it. And I did some research, and I did some quantitative analysis, and I did, right? So hold it for a long term, don't be scared, and maintain your emotions, right? Think when you do investments, when you think about formalizing your execution on your trades, capsulate all of that, right? And while at the same time mitigate your emotions, which has nothing to do with investing. You should never buy a house or buy a stock or buy anything based on emotions. You should invest based on numbers. You should invest based on quantitative research, evidentiary support, right? Don't even listen to me, right? I'm just a YouTube person talking to a camera, right? Like, who the hell am I to tell you what to do? You are the compass of your destination. You have to be extremely rigorous in terms of how you're putting your money into deployment. And by doing so and be a disciplined, frugal individual with that laser focused mindset, you'll be way more successful than I will ever be in the future. And that's the goal, what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to cultivate success and financial freedom among all investors around the world. Sorry, I think I went off a little bit of a tangent from there, but hopefully that makes sense. And so just to recap on all the numbers that we're talking about right here, with respect to Ethereum, I think the current price point, it's fair to buy in if you are thinking about it as a long-term investor. But if you want to be more risk averse, right, just wait until like we go back down further into like the 2,100, the $2,250, which is a better level to buy at, knowing the fact that we've been oscillating at those bottoms, the 2,250 bucks, for like 14, 15 times right now. So the long-term investors pool versus the short-term investors pool is definitely appreciating in that spectrum. That further propels my thesis, in terms of the long-term value proposition of Ethereum as an investment vehicle. And with respect to like the 1750, I think the likelihood of like getting there in the next week or so would be, I give that like a 0.0001% chance, because for us to do that, that would just be very unlogical at all, completely, right? It would completely destroy the supply and demand dynamics. It will require some sort of like, corporate, a bunch of corporate investors to sell a big chunk on a loss, right? And how likely is that going to happen, right? So unlikely. And with respect to my price target, I still, stand next to my $9,800. We possibly even break through that to about like the $10,000 mark, right? With contingent on obviously the 20% adoptions, with my analysis that I've done in a more of a comprehensive quantitative model, understanding the corporate adoption percentage. And if we were to buy at the 2,450 bucks right now, you'll get subsequently about 4 times your return from here in the next 12 months, which is highly logical, knowing the fact that we did the 2x, in just like a couple months or weeks ago. So it's not that, improbable. I think it's highly logical based on the trends and how the world is going from here. So that's it for today with respect to my technical analysis on Ethereum ticker ETH. Well, hope everybody have a great weekend again. Try to stay away from your Coinbase app, or look at your whatever mobile app that you have for your crypto trading thing. Really try to spend time with your loved ones and your family, and not let the volatility, disturb you or mess with your mood, right? Go out and have some fun with your friends. I think the COVID is subsiding, so still try to be health conscious in a way, right? Wear your mask if you need to, and try to stay safe and sustain positivity throughout this weekend. And really appreciate you guys for dropping by. Please kindly hit the like button, subscribe button, also the bell notification, and watch out for the next video coming up. Take care. Bye.